got the wrong Okay. Have you got bottles of water? Yes. Well, yeah. Oh, yes, they have the sizes here. Oh, sure. Where's the work?
I think so. Just the students outside. Just don't choose
I'll hand over to Claire. Claire's BBKA trustee, who's going to introduce Dominic.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 BBKA Spring Convention. Yeah, it's really great to see you all. I've got a few formalities. First of all is to welcome you to the meeting, but also to the whole convention. It's really great to have your support. If you have got a mobile phone, can you make sure it's a few hands in pockets there? You can switch that off. I have to do my air stewardess thing here and point out the exits are over there. I don't think there are any little lights that come on there. So. I'd like to thank before I introduce Dominic, I'd like to thank Northamptonshire Beekeepers Association. I don't know if we've got anyone here today. Thank you very much for your sponsorship of this event. And this speech, much appreciated. But what you're really here for, and I'm really excited, look at all this, is to introduce Dominic Suter. I hope I've not made too much of a hash of your name, Dominic. Who's going to talk to us about the reality of beekeeping with Asian hornets. Just looking at the props that Dominic has brought, I think I'm really excited to hear this, because some of these things I've only seen in pictures, and to see them in real life and to hear someone talking about them, I think is going to be fantastic. So, without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Dominic, also known as the Hornet Whisperer, I believe. So,
yes, it is. Good morning, everybody. I will start my timer because I have so much to tell, and if I don't put the timer, so maybe I have to stop in the middle of my presentation, but I don't hope so. First of all, who am I? I'm a Flemish citizen scientist. I took my suit on because now I look more like a scientist, I thought so. But I know a lot of Asian hornets because when they came to Flanders in 2017, I was one of the first who took a lot of conferences. I looked at conferences. I've downloaded a lot of scientific papers. There are not a lot of them about Asian hornets. So, and I always talk about Asian hornets. I don't use yellow-legged Asian hornets because we only have one Asian hornet in Europe at the moment. I'm a former drone pilot, so at the moment that VespaWatch.be is the same as Hornet Watch app. It started in 2018, and I emailed them to say maybe I can search a nest with my drone with a thermographic camera. You can't because you can see it, it's very good isolated. So the only thing you are searching is the entrance hole. Yeah, so you can't find it. I found a lot of pigeons, that's it. But I never found an Asian hornet nest with it. But I was interested in that beautiful creature because when you look at it, the head is so beautiful when they are hovering in front of you. They are so beautiful to see with the yellow tips on the legs when the sun is on it. So I was very interested in it because I have a scientific background, and I asked them maybe I can search nests, but the only thing I need is my binoculars. That's the most important equipment to search nests, but you will hear everything about it this afternoon at the workshop. I'm also the founder of the Vespa Watchers. That's the volunteer group, like you have the Jersey Asian Hornet group. Yeah. I'm also a member of the Jersey Asian Hornet group. I started as a pest controller for wasps and hornets, and I'm teaching to other pest controllers. I'm a member of the Vespa Task Force of the Colos. I see there's another member over here. So we talk about how we deal with Vespids, not only Vespa velutina, also Vespa orientalis and things like that. All the types of hornets that are in Europe. So, and I said I'm a member of the Jersey Asian Hornet group. You have to follow their Facebook page, you learn a lot of it. You can follow my Facebook page, you will learn a lot of Asian hornets. So in Jersey last year, I was in the Jersey Evening Post as the Hornet Whisperer, because I arrived to the island last year, 20 minutes after I went through the customs. I found my first nest last year. 40 minutes later, I found the second nest. In 3 weeks, I was in Jersey to search nests. I found 22 nests. Most of them only with the binoculars. I will talk about the life circle and how you can prevent that your bees are killed by Asian hornets. The first moment, December to March, is when the hornets are in hibernation. So you don't need any protection at your beehive at that moment. Yeah? If you want, you can take pictures as well, because some slides I will go very fast through it, because I don't have that many time. So the queens are in hibernation. So you don't need protection, but for me it's interesting because I'm searching the queens to see how much they weigh to predict the season. Yeah? If they are only 360 milligrams, like 2 years ago, I knew it would be a calm season, and spring started only in April in Flanders, so it was very calm. The number of nests multiplied only with 1.2. The year after, there were between 550 and 650 milligrams, the queens I found in hibernation. So I knew it will be a very hard year, and we saw the number of the nests multiplied with 4 last year. In Flanders we had 25,000 nests, so a lot of them. In the end of March, April, May, yeah, the queens come out of hibernation and they start to build a nest. It's like a small wasp nest as well, not bigger than a ping pong ball. That's how they look like. If you have a shed or something like that, just look if you have something like that. If you want to know if it's from a wasp or a hornet, you have to look inside who is in. You can see the queen is inside to warm up the eggs she is laying over there. So the queen needs sugars. Before she can start to build a nest, she comes out of hibernation. She needs a lot of sugars, as well a little bit of proteins. So the egg production starts, and that's the moment of spring trapping. In Belgium or in Flanders, we have at the moment a project for 3 years to see the spring trapping program. How many bycatch do we have? And at the moment, there are more than 8,000 traps registered. So, and I think we have at this moment something about 11,000 queens caught already. In my garden, I only had 6 this year. Last year I had 50 queens that I caught. So the queens, they don't hunt at the beehives, but sometimes you can see one of a queen in front of your beehive, but she is with the head towards the beehive because she smells the sugars. So at that moment, you don't need any protection at your beehive because there's only queens. So they don't bother the bees, so they don't get any stress. One of my researchers, Tom, he has contacts with Vietnam, and in Vietnam you have greenhouses full with Asian hornets nests they are breeding. So after the contact, he tried it at his home as well. I have always some live hornets at home. Tom always have live hornets. So he did the same thing as they do in Vietnam, and that's how they produce. You will see 2 queens in it. They always start with 2 queens in a controlled area. Normally in nature there's only 1 queen. But in Vietnam they put 2 queens, they work together until the first worker is born, then they fight. So in Jersey this year, even in nature, they saw 1 location with 2 queens. I saw on the Facebook page. So that's how it grows. Normally in nature, it takes 50 days from the first egg to the first worker. But in a controlled home location, it's 22 degrees during the day, so it goes much faster, only 27 days. And a nest like this, a secondary nest, with the temperature at the same level, I think 25 degrees, yeah, because of the big isolation, it only takes 25 days, something like that. Yeah, so the big secondary nest It is the same like in his home. So for spring trapping, what do you need? You need the good spring traps. Yeah? So you need entrances. The round holes have to be 8.5 millimeters. If they are bigger, you will have European hornets in it. If they are smaller, the bigger Asian hornets can't enter. If you use rectangular holes, they have to be 7.2 millimeters high. You also need escape holes for the smaller insects that get in. So the escape holes are 6 to 7 millimeters. The queens can't get out, it's too small for them. If they are rectangular, they have to be 5.5 millimeters high. Yeah? And most important, do not use kill traps with open fluid inside of it, because you will kill all the other insects, even a queen wasp that gets in, because she's small. If you kill her, and when I'm talking to Flemish beekeepers, I say you prevent her to make a nest. A wasp nest contains 10 to 50,000 wasps. So the Asian hornets, instead of taking those 50,000 wasps, they take 50,000 bees instead. So don't kill all the other insects. So this type of traps with bottles, the bottle traps, you see European hornet in it, Asian hornets as well. There's a lot of yellow, so maybe that's a wasp. So don't use these ones. Trap we use a lot, and they use it in Jersey as well, because they are the best. They are very attractive. But this one is not good. We have the round clay balls. I don't know how you call it, yeah, inside, but there's too much liquid in this one. Here, a lot of traps now are 3D printed, but open liquid, that's not good. So, what do? We put a sponge in it, we put a little big bait station in it. I think I have one with me to show you. So this is the bigger version. So, it's a honey jar with a wick going through the lid. We use it to search the nests. But if you put a small one inside the Vespa catch, they are very good. I've made a type of jelly, so nothing else can drown inside it because it's not a liquid. That's something new I made this year. You see the escape holes, 6 millimeters I'm using. Sometimes the bigger queen wasps don't get out, but if you help her, she gets out. Yeah? As well, you have to check your traps daily. If there are other insects, you can release them. Since a couple of years, there are a lot of selective traps. The one is better than the other one. There's the newer version of the Vespa catch. They don't attract that much than the older version. Because in between, just here as well, there's a type of small mesh, so they only can drink the liquid, but they don't drown in it. I use this a lot of time. They are very good, but they are expensive. It's about 49 euros, so 47 pounds, I think. Good for bees is new since last year, but we see a small type of problem. Sometimes wasps don't get out, but because you check them daily, you can release them. Where do you have to put those traps? That's near flowers. Not in the sun, because if there's smaller insects in it and there's a lot of sun, they will die. So more in the shadow. About 1.5 meters above ground level is very good to observe them. Near water. A lot of beekeepers are always asking, is it good to put it in your apiary? That's not a problem. You will not attract extra hornets with it, because they are already attracted by some other things that your beehive releases. The smell of the brood, the smell of the honey. So that's a research article from a couple of years ago, more about workers, but also about queens. So that's an example of a queen now, I think a couple of days ago, that you see her with the head towards the beehive. Normally a worker is with the head looking at the other side to catch the bees that are coming with pollen, because they are slowing down and they catch them from the air. But the queen, she wants to enter because she smells the honey, so she's not catching any bees, so that's not a problem in spring. 50 days after the first egg was laid in the nest, the first worker is born. At that moment, we don't call it an embryo nest anymore, we say it's a primary nest. So in the primary nest, it's a social phase with the first workers that are born. But the first workers are very small, only 2 centimeters. They weigh between 200 and 250 milligrams, so they are not able to catch a bee. So even from June, July, you don't see a lot of workers, so you don't need to put any protection at your beehives. It's too early even then, but you need to start tracking of nests with wing bait stations. I think it's only the NBU who is doing that at the moment. In Jersey, everybody who wants to help them, they get a license so they can catch and release hornets, but I will explain it this afternoon how to do it. And that's a very good way to search for the nest with the wing bait stations. So still now, you don't need protection, but the second generation will be bigger. So that's the same, that's from Tom as well. The first workers are born, and at a certain moment he will tap it and you will see what happens. So they are just walking around. Now he taps on it and you see they are all coming out. So that's the danger of a nest. If you disturb a nest, a lot of workers are coming out. Those workers are now used to test new tags to put on the hornet to search for the nest. Because you already have workers. Normally the first workers in Flanders is around June, but you already have them. Yeah? So we can do a lot of tests with that. So the first workers in June are about 200 milligrams. The second generation, you see between 300, 400 milligrams, even sometimes they are bigger. So first generation worker is only 2 centimeters. Later on in the season, they are bigger. What's the reason of that? In the beginning, the queen is all by her alone. So she is the only one to put food at the larvae. And they have an exoskeleton, so the moment they are born, they can't grow anymore. So because the first workers didn't have a lot of food, they are not very big. That's the reason they can't pick up a bee, because they are too light at that moment. But the more workers there are in the nest, the more food they bring for the next generation of larvae. So the next generation of workers will be bigger. So normally it's around June you will see them fly, and around mid-July, beginning of August, they are big enough, and that's the moment that you need protection at your beehives. If you have a question, just ask it. So, end July, beginning of August, they relocate to a higher location. 70%, not all the nest will relocate to a higher location. So a couple of worker hornets start in a tree on a branch. They start with another small nest. The primary nest is already like a basketball, but they start with a small nest on top of a tree. They relocate, but at that moment 2 nests are active, because the last egg that the queen has laid down in the primary nest takes 25 days to develop to a worker. And the first day she goes up in the secondary nest, she starts to lay eggs over there. At that moment, both nests are active. That's already a very dangerous situation for people who are working in gardens like that. Yeah? The nest high up in the tree will grow and grow, like you see the nest over here. That's quite a small nest. It was in, I think, September I took it away. The biggest nest I found in trees were 1 meter up. 1 meter high. I also have primary nests. We call them primary, and Jersey they call it after August secondary nest, but if they don't relocate, I still call them primary. I had a primary nest in an ivy bush, and it was 1 meter up as well. And it was close to a parking. If children are playing with the football and the ball goes in the ivy, they would have been stunned. Because one nest like that, size like that, contains around 2,000 worker hornets. If they attack, you have to run. Because in August, the queen starts to lay eggs that become drones, and later, 2 weeks later, she starts to lay eggs that become new queens. They need a lot of food. That's the moment you see a lot of hornets in front of your beehives. So if you don't have protection at your beehive, your bees will be lost because they have stress, they have foraging paralysis, so they don't collect any food and they don't survive winter. So what you have to do, so the bigger hornets are hunting. Still you need to search the nests. As long as you have hornets in front of the beehives or on your wing bait station, you need to search the nest because the foraging of the Asian hornets is up to 2 kilometers from the nest. Most of them stay within 800 meters, yeah, but they fly up to 2 kilometers. So you need protection. So when you have no hornets at your beehive, all your bees are active. They forage, they bring in nectar, they bring in pollen. At the moment, you have 4 hornets in front of your beehive at the same moment, there is less activity. So you need to search the nest at that moment, or you need protection. But when you have 13 or more hornets in front of your beehive, nothing will happen anymore. All the bees stay inside. They don't bring in any food, so they can't start with the winter bees. The queen needs to lay eggs for your winter bees, but she has a lot of stress as well. So instead of putting 100 eggs a day, she stops laying eggs, and you will not have any winter bees. So after winter, you have 2 problems. You have the varroa, and you have Asian hornets. Last year I lost 2 hives, not by Asian hornets, but by varroa, because my hives were protected by electric harps. Only when I came back from Jersey in September, I was there for 2 weeks to search nest, I saw hornets in front of my beehives. One of my wires was broken and it was short circuit, so they were not killed anymore. So I replaced it with another harp, and 2 days later I didn't have any hornets anymore. So my bees could fly again. So you have to take action to reduce stress. You can do 4 different types of things. First of all, search and destroy nests. If you destroy the nest, there are no hornets anymore who are hunting your bees. That's the first thing. Just kill the nests, or let them kill. A second one, what you can do is the same like spring trapping. We use the same traps, but with smaller holes. We have reduction rings to put inside. You can catch some workers from the Asian hornets. They can't get out of the trap anymore, so there are less hornets in front of your beehives. So you reduce the stress of your bees. Another thing is the protecting things from your beehive. I will explain a lot of them in the next 23 minutes. And you can give extra food. There's a new product on the market since last year. I will show it in a couple of moments. First thing, tracking nests. I use the Jersey method. That's from the formula of John. Bob invented it. John invented the formula. If you have your wing bait station and there's a worker hornet on it and she leaves in that direction and she's back in 3 minutes, then you know in that direction there's a nest of Asian hornets at approximately 300 meters away from you. You don't even have to catch the hornets, so for the UK law it's not a problem. You can just observe. If there's a hornet, you can see her leaving and coming back. Even if you want to mark her with the Posca pen, you don't have to catch her. When she's sitting to drink, just touch her with your pen. You didn't catch her, so you didn't release her. That's what I'm saying to everybody. Yeah, that's the gray zone of the law, isn't it? So, but normally when there's one hornet on it and she leaves and comes back, in the beginning you only have one hornet. I only have to see her leaving and coming back 2 or 3 times to know where approximately I have to search the nest. Yeah? The new technique is to use some tags. It's quite expensive to buy it, but newer tags, I will explain this afternoon as well, are much cheaper and you can start immediately in June. They are half the weight or the tags they use now in the UK. But I have already the new one for this year. It's only the people of the NBU who can use it at this moment. I hope they will do the same as in Jersey. They give a license to people to catch and release hornets. They used a set last year. I brought to Jersey, they tried it. And John, the founder of the Jersey Asian Hornet Group, found a nest in 1 hour and 30 minutes. The people from the NBU went to New Zealand this year where they had hornets. Most of the nests they found within an hour. But the beekeeper has to start with putting up wig bait stations, so they already have a direction. That's the easiest way. If you proceed up to approximately 300 meters of a nest, you can easily find them. So another question is, from beekeepers, if you put a wig bait station in your apiary, do you attract other hornets? Because if one hornet finds it and finds your beehive, they go back to the nest and say, oh, I found the McDonald's, you can go, I have a lot of bees over there. You must know there are 2 different types of hornets. You have the collectors of sugars and you have the collectors of proteins. Those who are hunting your bees are not the same as those who are collecting the sugars. So if you put a wig bait station and there's a hornet on it, she is not coming over there to hunt. Sometimes they do it, but normally they don't. It's the same if you see them on ivy flowers to get some sugars before they hunt bees. That happens as well. But they don't do a bee dance. So if a hornet is on your wig bait station and she comes back to the nest, she don't have the communication to say, I found the McDonald's. No. So you don't have to worry about it. They don't do a bee dance like your bees. So if you put a wig bait station, a lot of beekeepers say, no, I will not do that because suddenly I will have hundreds of hornets. No. If you